Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to Scrabble! And yes, the players can hear me next door. Welcome to the final game of the 2018 National Scrabble Championship final, pitting Ed Martin, once of this parish, currently living in Sweden, and coming back to take our scalps against Shin, defending title holder from 2017, bidding to be the only person to defend the national championship of the UK, since done by Mark Nyman back some years ago. Ed immediately starting with a very, very strong rack. Not one that's going to give him a bonus, but one that's certainly going to score him 48 if he decides to play something along the lines of Zona, keeping a strong ST. Of course, the Benjamin for Zona being BLA, I'm sure both players would know instantly. The other options here are to play short, something like ZO, keeping rents. It's fine, but it is 26 points less, and absolutely, I think, perfectly valid to take the points, keep a strong ST, get this game underway. Austin with not a bad rack, all things being considered, certainly able to resolve the duplicates. Looking at potential plays. Say not a bad rack, but actually what's going to be played that could give him strong opportunities next go? I mean, something like ornery and keeping IN. Ideally, you just may be playing off something like NRY. But in doing that, that's what you're going to play. You're going to play Renai, RENY, or something through the E of Zona. Scores nothing, realistically. Something like Ninny through the N of Zona scores reasonably well, but you're keeping E and duplicated R's with an already floating R. And of course, from our point of view, we know that Ed is sitting over there with a bonus that's going to go down next move. So sure enough, Austin gets ornery. I think it's a solid play. His other option could have been onery, to keep the R. Ed has some outswear here, down onto the R in the middle of the board. He has other things like outswam, making zonas, outlaws, outwash, washout, outlaws. Plenty of options here. Outswear, keeping the board very open. Outswam, beginning to restrict the board. So 83 for outswear. Outswam would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 25, 75. 8 points different. Plays like outswam I quite like, because he's creating access to 2 triple word scores, the one at the top, the one at the bottom. Ed opting to play as probably outlaws, I would imagine. Yes, indeed. Static simulation which doesn't really tell us a huge amount. Has out square top because it scores most. Outlaws does create 2 places for the X. Austin, in the meantime, has drawn the other blank. Some pretty awful tiles with it, has to be said. Don't forget the Blazoners. Benjamin is still available. Meanwhile, Ed has drawn Dross. So options for Austin here, very limited. And may involve changing, which when you're 109 points behind after 2 moves, it's pretty painful to have to do, but I think it's probably a sound choice. Okay, so what's Ed going to do with his own dubious selection? Obviously, he's going to be looking to offload as many of these as he can. I'm about to say something really obvious. He wants to offload as many of these as he can and score as much as he can. Plots solves that and has the added benefit of causing all sorts of frustrations across the floaters of Outlaws. Austin will be bonusing with his rack. Lots of options. Things like codomain and monoacid jump out at me through the O of Outlaws. I don't think there's anything through the R of Ornery. I think mucinoid is good through the U of Outlaws. The old mandioca through the A of Outlaws. And then through the E, you got the anagrams of demonic. So a demonic comedian, a demoniac. Like now you have dolmenic, and then combined, yeah. Leave the everyday one till last. It looks like he's lining up monoacid. I mean, let's have a look. Codomain. Codomain better defensively, but do you want to play defensively when you're 141 behind? I don't think he needs to panic at this stage just yet. Obviously, from our point of view, we know that Ed's rack is pretty rubbish at the moment. I think Austin definitely wants to play through the O, though, because something like object would sort out Ed's rack a treat and also score a lot in the process. Of course, there's abject for Ed to sort out his rack, which might well be worth considering. In fact, it might be the only play that's worth considering if something like monoacid or codomain gets played. Will be a shame to see the first B get played and less of a chance for Blazoners. think Austin rightly taking his time to check all of the possibilities here. Interestingly, he hasn't moved around his letters from the monoacid setup. Okay, he's played monacids. Which is fine. Doesn't score as much. Restricts the E of zoners. I think prefer something like codomain in that kind of situation. Ed immediately playing object as he's flying it up, I'm sure. Restoring a 100-point lead. Austin now looks like he's drawn Aero Team. Yes, indeed. So Austin sitting with Aero Team on his rack. Let's have a look. What does this make? Is an S for stereome. Well, straight away he's got the S that he needs for stereome. He just played it in monastids. A C for ectomere. That doesn't quite fit. Telomere, overteam, and geometer, of course. So Austin has a great shot straight away. So bonus back to back to get back into this one. Stereome will be the play that we would hope to see. And certainly Ed will not be wanting to see. Yeah, good play. Never in doubt. Austin sees his second consecutive bonus. It's the only playable bonus. Very well played. Of course, it does create a scoring counterplay for Ed. Something like Feed, THEED, 39, has the added benefit of taking out that double-double line. I think it's testament to the power of Ed scoring in this game that Austin is just bonus back to back. Ed's only bonus once and he's still got commanding lead of 41, and he will again have a bonus size lead after this. That said, Austin has picked out the X, and if Ed does play something such as Theed, Austin will have a 50-point play with XU. Wondering if there's something else. Well, yeah, I think Theed is a sound play. Can't blame him for taking 39 points, restricting the double-double. Does leave this X play for Austin, which will get him back to just 30 behind. And the board is rapidly constricting at the top half. And given that Ed has just picked out a pretty nasty selection, he wouldn't have wanted to see the X go down. So Ed limited to 4-letter plays with this rack. Tiki, Taki, Kiva, Kati, iCat, etc., etc. Frustratingly, he's not going to have anything to utilise the opening that's just been made by Austin and down to the triple. Something, well, among the higher scoring options here are things like Taki, T-A-K-I, down the side of ornery, but that takes both an S and an N on the end. You could just offload Ki across the top of monoacids. That doesn't feel like the kind of move you want to be making at this stage. 2-tile play, and plus you're setting up big scores back across the double word score over the top. Ideally, he wants to be thinking, well, something like Kainit, K-A-I-N-I-T, through the N of ornery might be worth looking at. It unloads some of the clunkier tiles, scores a bit, restricts the R from zoners, restricts the E from zoners, which isn't actually that much of a threat anyway. It takes out completely the N of ornery and severely restricts the E of ornery. Scores 22, just puts you 50 in front. Ed will be half-eyeing up the I of monoacids though, because there's danger of a quick, cheap QI play down there. Other options are things like Tiki, T-I-K-I, from the T of Outlaws. That would kill the H to the Q threat, as well as finally killing off the top section of the board. Okay, Ed is opting to score 28 Trek. It's fine. It does leave the duplicate V's, and does burn one of the hooks to play down the side next to you. Another option could have been something like Ariki, A-R-I-K-I. Austin now set with a lot of single pointers. Interestingly, he has 2 of the 3 tiles he needs to play Blazoners. I don't know if we're going to see that come up, but it would be interesting. Tempting perhaps to play something like LOO down the side of stereo, or Colo, KLO, in order to open up that bottom quadrant a little bit more. Mental note that Trake does take an S on the front. There are 3 S's unseen to both players. Of course, I was talking crap just now because we know that Ed has the B, so maybe Ed will have a shot at Blazoners. Austin probably shouldn't be thinking about playing things like Louis now to leave the E on the bottom line. He doesn't need to be that reckless or that open currently. He is 56 behind, but he's going to be 40 behind after this move. I have a feeling that Ed might be eyeing up a play such as Kiva down from the K. I think Austin does have to be a little bit careful here because while the board currently does have some potential, he doesn't have a lot of the tiles to utilise that potential. I mean, the S's are going to be quite key in the bottom part of the board at the moment. So he needs to give himself some flexible openings to utilise the tiles he's got. Going over to our friend, the static simulation, it currently has Colo at the top. Actually, this isn't a static simulation, sorry, this is a championship player. Championship player is rating Colo as the play with a just under 18% win rate. Of course, that's without the knowledge of what Ed is currently sitting with. In which case, I reckon it'll probably go up to about 25. Yeah, it's a good play. Has to create flexible opening at the bottom, as I said. Yeah, it does it. As well as frustrating Ed's higher scoring play in that situation with Kiba. So Ed can clean his rack up instantly by playing Bivia here and sticking the B up onto the triple file at the top. It's not very risky, but this has been a tournament with a plethora of 9 timers. There we go. It's the final of the national championship. And he is happily sticking that B out there, and quite right too. Austin's counterplays are unlikely to Bivia. Gives that a great shot at the relatively few goodies that are left. But it does sort out his rack. Oh wow, what a set of tiles he's picking out. So Ed now has Asaya, which won't play. He also has Erases, which won't play. Okay. So Austin may be considering just playing IF at the side of Bivia. It's difficult to see anything of length that he can play through the B that will live anything decent. He certainly doesn't want to interfere with the T of Outlaws too much, because we can be pretty certain that Ed is going to be causing problems in the bottom quadrant of the board in his next move, whatever comes out. Ed has say for 45 on his next move, making objects, which would kill that T position. The D is a massive threat, but it would also take the D out of contention. Simulation suggesting that a play of Feni, F-E-N-I, down the side of stereo, making FOU, would give Austin a slim but real chance, 13.24% win on the limited simulation that we've run, which places it slightly ahead of a number of different things. FIE at I-13. Oh wow, that's killing off the floaters of Colo. Personally, I'd love to see that being played if I was his opponent. From what Austin has here, if he does play if, this is keeping 4 vowels, 1 consonant. The most flexible floater on this board is a vowel. So unless he feels like drawing Oedipian or something similar, he may not have a huge amount that he can play through the floater. If he doesn't touch that B at the top, what should Ed play? I mean, maybe a Bray. These are those kinds of nervy moments for both players. Ed has got a lead, but it's not immense. Austin's played fine. Does restrict those floaters. Really, it requires him to draw a bonus now. Okay, so Austin, Ed has slightly misscored, so it sounds. So Ed is currently 37 ahead. He has erased, isn't a Saya. Another rich play. There is one S unseen from Ed's perspective. So that strake hook is dwindling as a threat. At the moment, the chief threats probably, well, they are the N of ornery, highly flexible, the T of Theed, and the T of outlaws. The B of Bivia will be a little bit of a concern. In fact, we'd probably see Austin play Wabane through it on the next move. But if I were Ed, I'd be thinking potentially of playing Assay and Objects. I'd really like to take that T of Outlaws out of commission so that I can focus down in the bottom quadrant on my next move. Keeps the score ticking over. It gets me a bonus back in front. And if Austin doesn't bonus on the next move, I think I'm in a pretty good position. There is also only one O out, which gives us reassurance for plays down the side of XU, and Austin is unlikely to be able to come back down there. I think in Ed's mind, the ideal situation now would be that he plays something like Assay. Top right hand of the corner is killed. Austin plays something like Wabane, and then Ed plays maybe a 6-letter play through the N of ornery. A 6-letter play with the N in second position. Killing plays through off the T of Theed, killing plays through the N of ornery, and killing plays that hook the front of Drake. At which point Ed will be about 50 up on a board that's largely dead. Now, that's the way he'd like it to play out, probably. So we have two simulations suggest there are two very high probability wins here. Assay being the second by 1%, the other being Raya. Okay, so Ed. It's picked a very strong rack. Austin hasn't. Austin probably wanted that B because I think Rebane would have sorted out all of his woes. So we're left in a situation where he probably needs to create another opening. Something like AWE down the side of plots, perhaps. Ed has a bonus. It doesn't play. It's aphesis. It won't play if Austin plays or. If only objecti was a word, then Ed would have pisshead. Great word that would be to win a national championship with. So yeah, Austin doing the right thing, creating an alternative opening. He's down below 10% in terms of win now, but he has to do something along those lines. So Ed with a 52-point lead. Austin has a bonus of Dateline. This is the point now where Ed, virtually everything that Ed has that's going to score decently is going to be to play across either down the side of object, making objects, or underneath object. So Dateline is likely to be disappearing very, very shortly. For those who are interested, other bonuses. Interesting. Okay, well, Ed is probably doing an equally sensible thing of taking out the most flexible opening, but that does in turn leave Austin with Dateline. So puts Ed 84 up, but Dateline will go down instantly. Entailed is the other option. Puts Austin back only 14 points behind. It's all about what Ed picks. That Q is going to cause a problem. Ed, of course, has some strong playing options down the side of XU. Defog now would be quite damaging. Austin has picked not well. That exchange, I think, could be the exchange that makes a difference in this tournament. Ed has a number of high-scoring options in the bottom right-hand quadrant. He will be looking at what's left to come now, and very little that's threatening. Something like turnings, potentially from the T. In which case, the play of Fadge, F-A-D-G-E, on the left-hand side of Stereome would block. Alternatively, Defog, we know in this case, would be pretty safe on the right-hand side. 39 points for Fadge, 404, so that'd be 53-point lead to Ed. Looking at what's to come, there wouldn't be anything to worry about in terms of plays, 5-letter plays beginning with SQ. Fadge actually is now simming as 100% win. So we have 100% win here for Fadge. Defog is 0.76. Has a 0.76 chance of losing, which I guess comes into the turnings play. Highly unlikely, but still there. So really, as a high quality finish, we'd be hoping to see something like Fadge here from Ed. He's just going to double check his tracking. The last thing he wants is to leave Austin in here with a squeg or a squit. Definitely when you're sitting down playing Scrabble, you don't want to be seeing a squeg or a squit coming out of your opponent. I think Austin's trying to keep a neutral face on this, but he will be feeling pretty rough. That last pickup was a killer. I think Ed is probably trying to just keep himself settled at the moment. You can see he's already planning what he's going to do with his prize money. Ed, get a McDonald's. Hal, get two. Okay, Ed's playing around with a few options here. Fade, he's got his rack now. We should, yeah, there we go. We should lead to Fadge. Okay, Ed, come on, you've got it. Pull the trigger. You play that, you're home and safe. There we go. Bang. So from Ed's point of view, there are 6 in the bag. Fadge is the perfect resolution to that. It leaves 1 in the bag. Austin has no comeback. So ladies and gentlemen, a little bit premature here. We haven't finished the game, but sadly for Austin, he's not been able to defend his title, but a valiant effort. Extremely well played throughout. Certainly one of the strongest competitors here through the games that I've had the privilege to commentate on. But we do indeed have a new and first time UK National Scrabble Champion for 2018 in the form of Ed Martin. Here we go, he's going to play out the game now. At least Austin won't have to think too hard, he knows the game's gone. He has got a considerable spread advantage over the people who are 1 game behind, so I think he's pretty much guaranteed second place, regardless of the outcome of this one. No, Ed, it's not an illusion. You need an L for that. This is very much real. Just reflecting on the game, though, look at the score differential, and Austin actually had 3 bonuses to Ed's 1. Ed has just been continually scoring throughout and handling some pretty tough racks, actually. Bivio was nasty, the object rack was nasty. Austin offloading Vug. He doesn't have an outplay with QNS. Indeed, he's got to pick out an R from the bag. So with 2 eyes left, he was probably hoping to get one of them to play it out somewhere. Now, the question that should be in Ed's mind now is, I'm probably going to be in the newspapers tomorrow. Which word do I want to win the national championship with? Ed, I would suggest something that you know the meaning of. That's always a good start. Secondly, something that isn't rude. It's also a good start. Quite cool, the little tinker that it is wanting Ed to block Austin's sook. It's known as a suck block. If he was feeling generous, perhaps he could play Lino down the left-hand side, making Op Na, and giving Austin 33 for the Q, and then playing out with SUI. Okay, he's playing Linos. Question here is, does he have an outplay from Linus? Oh yes, Twee, of course. So Tui, next move. New Zealand honey guide bird, I believe. Stick that one in the definitions in case you don't know it. You're going to need it, Ed. And it's unblockable. So however this is going to play out, Ed will almost certainly play Tui. Austin will realise this. Down goes Suck. And out goes Tui. Boom. At least I'm assuming that's what he's played. The camera's frozen. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am proud, it is my privilege to announce Edward Martin as the 2018 UK National Scrabble Champion. I'm going to go in now and commiserate, congratulate, and chat.
Okay, so while we have all the many congratulations and chaos going on in the room, I'd like to extend my own congratulations to Ed Martin himself, and a huge commiserations to Austin Shin, so close to defending his title and yet so far. I've got a lot of thank yous to give out. Thank you to Craig for providing the equipment to stream. Without him it would be a lot less interesting. Thank you to Brett for providing such amazing analysis for all 16 rounds of the event. It really has been amazing. Thanks to my parents for driving me here. Of course for them. And thanks most of all to you guys for watching. You guys have been absolutely amazing. We peaked at 83 viewers in that final. That is insane for a Scrabble Twitch stream. So, with that, I will leave you to have a wonderful peek at Ed's bottom, because he stood in front of the camera there. Yes, of course. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you for whenever the next stream is.